When I got the call mid-mission, my daughter's voice was gone, her heart barely beating. I didn't cry. I finished the mission, flew home in blood-stained boots, and found out the truth. It wasn't an accident. Someone made sure I'd lose her, and I made sure they'd never sleep again. I'd spent most of my adult life in uniform, 20 years serving as a U.S. Army operations officer, leading rescue missions across some of the harshest terrains on Earth. But nothing, not war, not death, not even the screams I've heard in combat, prepared me for the sound of that phone call. It was June 17th, 2021. I was stationed in northern Syria, leading a hostage extraction with my unit. We'd been awake for 30 hours straight. Gunfire echoed through the ruins of Aleppo like thunder when my satellite phone buzzed inside my vest. "Ma'am, this is Dr. Stevens from St. Mary's Hospital, Colorado. I'm afraid it's about your daughter, Lily." Everything went silent. My knees gave out. My world shrank to the static in the phone line. She said the words car accident and critical condition. I heard drunk driver, but my brain refused to process it. Lily was only 13. My entire reason for surviving deployments, loss, and loneliness. I requested immediate extraction, but my superior, Colonel Harris, denied it. "You leave now, Major, and 23 civilians die. That's your call." He hung up. So I stayed. I stayed while my daughter fought for her life thousands of miles away. We completed the mission. I came home 3 days later to find her gone. I held her lifeless hand in that hospital room, the same one she was born in, and promised her I'd find whoever did this. Everyone said it was a hit and run. The reports claimed a truck lost control. But I noticed details that didn't add up. The impact marks were too precise, the angle too deliberate. When I asked for the dash cam footage from the responding officer, he told me it was corrupted. When I visited the crash site, I found no skid marks, no debris pattern that matched a random accident. Then I met Officer Blake, the first responder on the scene. His eyes told me more than his words did. He slipped me a piece of paper before I left. "You didn't hear this from me. Check who filed the insurance claim." It wasn't Lily's car. It was mine. The truck that hit her had been stolen from our base motor pool 2 weeks earlier, signed out under an authorization code only senior staff could access. I went back to Fort Carson under the pretext of paperwork. That's when I found it. In the logs, in black and white. Vehicle requisitioned by Colonel Marcus Harris, the same man who denied my leave during the mission. He had taken the truck to a training demonstration that never happened. The date matched Lily's crash. My hands shook. I dug deeper. What I found destroyed any remaining faith I had in the institution I'd served. Harris had been running a side operation, siphoning military vehicles and weapons for private contractors. One of his transfers was exposed, and he needed someone to take the fall. I'd found discrepancies in the last quarter's asset logs, so he made sure I'd be distracted. He couldn't risk me being around to connect the dots. The plan. For weeks, I planned silently. I collected everything: timestamps, access codes, shipment manifests, encrypted emails. I stayed invisible. I learned his schedule, his habits, his arrogance. Then I reached out to one of his own buyers, a Syrian contact who owed me a favor. I leaked just enough data to make Harris look like a liability to his partners. When the fire started in his warehouse 2 months later, no one suspected me. But that wasn't my revenge. That was the beginning. I requested to meet Harris for closure. He agreed. We met in the officers' lounge, quiet, expensive, and sterile. He looked older, smug, a man convinced of his invincibility. "You never should have come back, Major. You don't know how the world works." I slid a small USB drive across the table. "Neither do you." He didn't realize what he held. financial records, transaction trails, encrypted confessions. I'd scheduled them to auto-upload to multiple military oversight offices at 7 a.m. the next day, unless I entered a code to stop it. You killed my daughter to protect your greed. He smiled. Collateral damage, Major. You of all people should understand that. I leaned in. No, Colonel. I understand consequences. When the explosion went off outside, the lights flickered. Sirens screamed. I walked out while chaos erupted behind me. The next morning, the headlines read, "Senior Army official under investigation for treason and fraud, found dead in office fire." They never mentioned the woman who'd been there the night before. The investigation cleared me officially, but I knew better. They found fragments of my signature in the system logs. I'd left a trail on purpose. So I resigned, quietly. Now, I live in a small cabin in Montana. Every night, I sit by the fire and listen to the wind move through the pines. Sometimes I still hear Lily's laugh. I got my revenge. But I also lost my soul somewhere between the deserts of Syria and the silence of that hospital room. If there's justice in this world, it's not clean. It's not noble. It's just survival. When the ones who protect justice become the ones who destroy it, revenge isn't evil. It's balance.